How's it going, guys? It is Monday, June 30th, and you are watching another episode of TidePod, the official podcast of TideIllustrated.com. I'm Henry Sklar, joined by Tony Sakalas. As always, Tony, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty well. Got some sad news. I think it'll be the final Tide Pod. Due to due to a change the Rivals on Three merger, this will be our last and final Tide Pod. But we're gonna send it off in a fun way. We're gonna talk about our favorite moments and kind of talk about this ride that we've had together on Tide Pod. I kind of wish Jack could be here to kind of close it out for us, but it'll be fun with just the two of us as well.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I joined Tide Illustrated last May. So me and Tony, I guess, have been covering rival, or we've been covering Alabama together for a little over a year now. So we're just gonna rehash some of our favorite moments over the last year. We're gonna talk about our favorite game, our favorite player to cover, and our favorite moment from the 2024-2025 athletic season. Um, but I'll just go right into it. Our favorite game, Tony, you covered every football game this past season. I don't think you covered every basketball game, not every away game at least, but
No, no, you're not everyone.
you covered the majority of them, including some fun NCAA tournament, SEC tournament, big time games. What was your favorite game in the 2024-2025 athletic year for Alabama?
All right, so because we talked about doing moments, my favorite game is different than my favorite
All
moment.
right, so go into your
Oh,
favorite
well,
moment.
do you want to do what? Well, we can do game. Let's do game first and then moment. Okay. So
Perfect.
game, I think I got to go with the Alabama Georgia game because it was so up and down. Like it was fun to watch Alabama be that dominant, and like that wouldn't have been a great game if Alabama just continued to be that dominant. But it was just kind of awe-inspiring to see like Jalen Milrow and Ryan Williams just kind of like, or just really the whole team, a whole team effort in that first half, just tear Georgia apart. Especially when most people thought Georgia was going to win that game. And then for Georgia to just storm back, I mean, that was equally impressive. And then you had the Ryan Williams pirouette, the Xavier Brown interception. It just like that's one of the better games I've covered. It like it was weird because it had the makings of a bad game necessarily, but I think that was a fun game to cover. I think I'd have to go with that one. There were some good
Yeah.
basketball games too. But yeah, no, I would have to go. Um, that was just such a wild game with so many iconic moments.
That game was incredible. I think me, Tony, as a former student, and me as a current student, can kind of agree. I feel like when you're on campus the week of a home game, there's just a certain aura in the air that's just like there's a buzz that's palpable. And I remember feeling that before the Texas game in 2023, but I felt it like crazy before the Georgia game, walking around, seeing the game day set up,
Yeah.
seeing the Secret Service set up because the former president was coming in at the time, seeing all the festivities and everything come to town that weekend. I mean, that was once in a lifetime type game, and that was just like that was crazy. Like I don't have words to describe it. It was a blur looking back, but that
You
was
walked,
insane.
right? Like you walked to the
Yeah,
game.
so for
So
those
yeah,
who
you
don't
didn't have
know,
to.
I
Yeah.
I kind of live around Coleman Coliseum, so I just kind of walk everywhere because I don't have a car. And I walked like through campus, and I like was like swerving around people. It was so hard to get past secret security or Secret Service. Like the security was so tight for that game, obviously with the president coming in, but um, it
Yeah,
was just it was insane.
I remember the dogs sniffing my car, stopping like they basically had you stop around Denny chimes. You couldn't even get close to the stadium. And you had a dog sniff your car, and then you had to like they had roads closed down, so you had to like snake your way to get to the parking lot. It was crazy. And then you saw on the Jumbotron, right? Donald Trump, giving out hot dogs to students. I mean, it's just every part of that game was like there's so many moments. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just so
You had Kid
uh
Rock that were there, like it was a
yeah,
fever
Kid Rock
dream.
was, I mean, like, yeah, it was just like the atmosphere, like you said, around that game it was almost a spectacle in itself. And then you had just the wildness of that game. You really thought Alabama was going to be like the number one team. I mean, like, at that point, that was right before Vanderbilt. At that point, you thought that Alabama was just going to be this unstoppable force because they beat this Georgia team, that everyone thought was, the best team
Nick
in
Saban's
football.
finally gone, and they had, like it felt like Georgia was finally going to have that
Right.
weight off their shoulders and kind of just take over the SEC from that moment. And then it was just crazy. Like I no words to describe it. I mean, if there's an advertisement for a senior in high school looking at college, I recommend them to go watch the video that Alabama's athletic like football YouTube channel posted, like the cinematic version of that game, because like seeing the slow motion of the crowd going crazy and the cheerleaders and Ryan Williams doing a craziest spin move I've ever seen in my life, with
Yeah.
the music in the background is just cinema. There's no other way to describe it. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah. And then so I guess favorite that this lends ourselves to this the favorite trip, right? Because that was obviously a home game. This is tough from a winning perspective for Alabama because a lot of these trips were sad, at least on the football side. I will go for my favorite trip. I'm actually gonna go. I thought I was gonna go Wisconsin because that's a new stadium and that was fun. That game was just kind of a blowout. It was nice to go to Wisconsin. I thought that that was kind of just fun. I'd never covered a game in Wisconsin. I'd never been to that stadium before, and so Camp Randall was fun to check out. Got to see jump around. But I'm actually going to go as a trip. I liked the New Jersey trip. I know Jack did not like the New Jersey trip. Jack Knowlton was not a fan, but we got to go into New York City so many times. You got to see that crazy 3 point. You got to see two games out of it too. You got to see the 3 point barrage against BYU, and then obviously you ran into a buzzsaw. Alabama ran into a buzzsaw against Duke, and that Duke team was crazy. But then you got to see three top 10 picks in that Duke game, so that was fun as well. Just from a neutral perspective. So I will take actually I guess the Elite Eight, Sweet 16 trip, whatever you want to call it. Um, to New Jersey slash New York. It's really my first time to check out New York. I liked that a lot, so I'm gonna go with that, even though it didn't end necessarily with a happy ending for the Tide.
As a New Jersey native, that is an amazing answer right there. I'm very happy that you did that, and I'll forever be sad that I did not get to go on that trip. But for those who don't know, Alabama actually plays St. John's at Madison Square Garden on November 8th. So if you missed out on that, maybe think about making that trip up to the Big Apple to see Alabama hoops play. Rick
See him and play in
Pitino.
Madison Square Garden. See, they didn't play in Madison Square Garden. That
Yeah,
would,
they played at the Rock.
yeah, that'd be epic to see them play there. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that BYU game was incredible to watch. I remember I was stuck in Tuscaloosa. I remember going out with my friends for that game, watching it. And I mean, they just kept banging home threes. I
Yes.
mean, it was like I had never seen Alabama play that way. And then like, I mean, that was incredible. And then the Duke game, obviously, I wasn't really surprised. I mean, it's Duke, like three top 10 picks, just an incredible team. Like they kind of just ran into a buzzsaw. But I mean, to go to the Elite Eight just a year after being in the Final Four, incredible season for Alabama basketball. I guess I'll go with my favorite moment and then, or my favorite game, I guess. And then what is it? Game and trip?
Yeah, so it'd be your favorite. Oh, did you not do your favorite game yet?
I haven't yet. No.
I just totally skipped over you, buddy. I'm sorry. Well, go. Okay. Yeah, go favorite game and then go favorite trip. Sorry about that.
Um, my favorite game, you took the Georgia one. That was a really fun one. So I'm gonna go with the unconventional one here. Even though it was a loss, my favorite game and just overall experience was Alabama Auburn basketball 1v2 in Tuscaloosa this past February.
So the
Um,
loss, the one,
the
the
loss, yeah.
1v2. Okay, yeah.
Not be obviously the outcome was a bit frustrating for Alabama hoops, but that was actually the first game in over a year that I got to go to as a non-media member. I got to go to that with my friends and sit in the student section for that one and watch the game, watch 76ers future superstar Jahani Broom or Janai Broom fry Alabama, which was tough at the time, but he's now on the winning team, so it's all good. But the atmosphere around that game was similar to the Georgia Alabama game. I mean, if you told me that 4 years ago when I was starting to look at colleges that I would be camping out for an Alabama athletics event that wasn't football, I would have called you crazy. but I got to camp out for college game day with my friends overnight. I remember I'll tell a story real quick. I don't know if my friends are going to listen to this, but 4 a.m., my friends are all kind of goofing off. I'm the only one really up at the camp out, like paying attention. A security guard starts walking by all the tents. For those like who know where the student section entrance is at Coleman, it's on like that little side alleyway that goes around towards the track. Um, that's like how we get into the Malmore and like that practice facility. But a security guard starts walking down. He's like, "It's time to get your wristbands. It's time to get your wristbands." None of my friends are paying attention. I start screaming at people like, "You guys got to get up! Like, we got to go! We got to go!" All of a sudden, you just see a rush of people sprinting up. Like some of my friends are like grabbing onto me. We're like rushing up through the pile. And somehow we got to the front, and I ended up getting one of the top wristbands, which was pretty awesome. I got a great seat, and I got to see Jack pregame for that one, which was sick. That was super fun experience. But that game as a whole, I mean, and then Alabama came storming back too in the second half. Like we thought we had life there for a little bit, and the student section was bouncing. I've never seen Coleman get that loud. Tony, if you can rehash some of your experiences from that
Yeah,
one.
I mean, that was a crazy one. We're gonna get back to that to the rematch for my favorite moment, but for that game, yeah, that was a you talk about. I think you hit it right on the head when you talk about the atmosphere leading up to that one. Alabama's now 0 for 2 with College Game Day coming for basketball, which is something I thought would never happen. You talk about things that you talked about camping out. I would have never imagined. I guess those kind of go hand in hand, right? But I would have never imagined, college game day coming for basketball at Alabama. That was always just a football thing. I thought that was reserved for your Kentuckys and your Dukes and your UNCs. So it's always nice to see that one of these days they're gonna have college game day there and Alabama's gonna win. Elsewise people are not gonna want them to come back, but. Um, the spectacle in that one was really fun. That game, like you said, there was definitely moments for Alabama to win that game.
Mm,
I kind of thought they'd come back and win it. And then Auburn kind of pulled away and just kind of closed it out. That Auburn team was great. I mean,
yeah.
it's the deserving SEC champion. And so it's not too much of a surprise that they won. We'll get into it later, but it is kind of crazy that both of those teams won away from home. It's just kind of
College,
fun.
yeah. Alabama teams are also 0-2 when I attend college game day because the only other time I did it was Texas in 2023, and we obviously know what happened there. So I'm never going to attend game day again.
You
I don't
not
want to.
attend the Tennessee game day, the college game
I
day?
didn't. No, I didn't. I
Basketball?
refuse.
Okay.
I don't know. I always tell people college game day is like the best thing that I'll never do again, just because like I mean it's brutal waking up that early and standing there for that long. I mean, getting on TV was sick. I got on TV for the Texas game and like I had a sign and all that, but like it was brutal. I had to take a nap before the game that day, and we were exhausted by the end. But
Yeah, I remember at the end of that game you retired. I remember when we were there for the pregame and you retired. Like the just the because you had been camping out all night.
yeah,
So
geez, that was brutal. Yeah, but I guess I'll go into my favorite trip now. My favorite trip was going to Baton Rouge and seeing Alabama beat the brakes off of LSU. We road tripped down there on the Saturday of the game, and I was just talking to Tony about it pre-show, but we didn't really get to experience the full like game day atmosphere because we were kind of just like in and out. We went to what
it was a Friday
Chewy's.
night basketball game, right?
Yeah, we played. It
Yeah.
was yeah. There it was like a early. Was it McNeese or it was someone like that.
It was a Friday night basketball game. That's because normally we go up earlier, and we didn't this time. Yeah.
Or and then what was the top? Oh, Torchy's. We went to Torchy's
Oh, right
pregame.
outside. Yeah, you'd never been your
Right.
first Torchies experience. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a
That was
Texas place, but yeah.
it was pretty good. And then we kind of just went into the stadium, but even though that like 30-40 minute like experience on the LSU campus, I mean that was crazy. I think they have. I always tell people like that was definitely the best game day atmosphere aside from Alabama that I've ever been in. Everything LSU does everything right from like a theatric standpoint, from the music they play pregame to like the graphics they have on the jumbotron to everything. Like they got it. Like they have the formula to a T down there. It's perfect for like Louisiana and the culture that that program has. Like it is an amazing experience.
They
Um,
brought in a live tiger for that one too, if I
yeah,
remember.
that was dope. Their press box is super nice. I mean, God, it was huge. They had some dirty rice for us too as a part of the press box meal, which was pretty good. And then we got beignets the next morning. That was
Yeah.
pretty fun. It was overall just a great trip. I
You
mean,
had
we
Cafe
did
du
get
Monde, not the original Cafe du Monde, but we did get you. So you had your first Cafe du Monde and your first Torchies in the same trip. So I get it. I get it.
It
Well,
was a
that's
great trip. I had a great time. The only negative part was getting rained out in the end. I was soaked, and then that press room they had us in was so tiny, and it was like a million degrees in there. Um, but like it was good vibes because Alabama just won. Like I couldn't imagine if Alabama lost being stuck in that like back closet
oh
um,
gosh, yeah.
where they
I
were.
mean,
That would have been
I thought it
brutal.
was. I
And
if you remember right, Big Al, the mascot, it was so hot.
yes,
Big Al had to take off his head, and they were like, "Please, no one take a picture of the Big Al head." Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah,
Hopefully, yeah. That was quite the experience. That was a great trip, But I will say, a very close second for me though was our Senior Bowl trip. I really enjoyed that. I forgot about that one because it's not a
I
traditional game, but
stayed in that
we went.
haunted like hotel. That was like
Yeah,
the
that
most
was
haunted.
sick. And we went
That
to
was wild.
Felix's
Yeah, I
fish camp.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Felix's fish camp was really good. The beignets we got were really good. In Mobile.
Yeah. We waited like
Um,
17 hours for those beignets too.
yeah, we did some good
Uh,
work there. We saw some cool. I met some cool people. That was a great trip too. I
yeah.
forgot that one. I wish
That
I would
was
have
the
considered
rare
that.
me and you trip. Jack
Yeah,
didn't get to make that one. So yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think Alabama played Mississippi
Yeah, he
State.
was stuck in Mississippi State. So yeah, that was yeah. That's one of
Yeah,
you've missed out on some of these, but that was a good one. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Senior Bowl is kind of the Senior Bowl. It is what it is. But yeah, no, I kind of like that we stayed in our weird little haunted mansion. Nothing
and
happened, but we read about
hon-
it. Well, supposed
honestly, we might be giving away the sauce to people because that was like like that was not a bad
it was
hotel.
pretty.
I mean, like
It was yeah, it was old, but it was like almost like
it
being
was.
in an
Yeah,
Airbnb.
it
Yeah,
was affordable. It was right next to everything we need to get to. Like that was perfect.
yeah.
Um, and then what was the next thing? Our favorite athlete to cover. I'll
Okay, so
throw it
yeah,
back
now
to
we're no
me.
wait, no, hold on. Favorite. We're gonna do
Favorite
we
moment.
can do athlete, but I think it lends itself to moment. Where like so we did game, trip, moment. So single moment, like it could be just a play, it could be a thing, but just single moment.
Favorite moment. You go first for this one.
Yeah, I already kind of gave mine away when you were talking about the Alabama Auburn, the 1 versus 2. I think the craziest moment of last year was Mark Sears draining a buzzer beater to stun Auburn Arena. That was insane. I remember for some dumb reason at to start overtime, I was like, I'm gonna go down and get a drink. You can't like it's not the press room is not as accessible as it is in Coleman Coliseum, but it's still like you can get up there and back. But like the intermission, the period between intermission and overtime was like nothing. And I somehow like got locked out of the part of the arena, so I had to like go through the stands and like meanwhile I'm like trying to watch the overtime on screens while I get back to the press row spot because they have you up in the stands and I somehow got locked out of the one section that I was at. I finally get back to my seat. I'm like recovering, and I saw like the last probably like minute and a half from my seat, and then obviously I saw that, and it was like when you see those kind of moments at your home arena, it's like they're followed by cheers and like you're kind of you get caught up in the moment. I remember. I don't know. The one that will always come to mind is in Bryant-Denny Stadium with Rocky Block. I was a student at the time, and it's like you just feel everything because everyone's exciting and hugging each other. But like when it happens, like when the road team wins in those games, it is just stunned silence. And it was just like it almost like did that just happen? Like it didn't seem real. You thought like, oh, was there a foul? Like, and then it's just like the game's over, and um, that you talk about, games that weren't supposed to happen. I mean, Auburn was supposed to win that game. Auburn, as great as that team was, it never cut down the nets for winning the SEC, because they
Yeah,
were going to do it after that. That was the big thing. They were going to save it and cut it in their last home game. they ruined Alabama ruined senior night. They ruined cutting down the nets. I mean, it was
Deny
just
Broom's final game there, like all
yeah.
that stuff.
And
That
it
was
was
crazy.
surreal. And then you had in that game, I mean, like we already did game, but you had the Grant Nelson, moment from earlier. It was a crazy game, but that was the probably the best moment. Like Ryan Williams' catch was also great, but I gotta go Sears there.
You're the way you described it kind of reminds me of the Iron Bowl in 2023. That was my first away game covering Alabama, and I remember running down like I had no clue how to get to the field because I was with the sports editor at my former outlet at the time, and like we were trying to like cut through crowds, get around people. We finally got onto the field, and then literally 2 minutes later, Isaiah Bond makes that catch, and it's just like, what did I just see?
See, like even
Like
then, I was on the
those
so I was on
moments.
the field for that. Uh, I was on the field for that, so like you saw the Alabama people like celebrating, and I could hear that, but like it was so silent because I'm up in the rafters,
Yeah.
and it's just like
And
and you're
and
right
in
there with the
basketball, I
fans
feel
too.
like
Yeah,
it's less of like a organized split, if you know what I mean, in terms of like away
right.
fans. Like they're kind
Yeah,
of more dispersed throughout the crowd, so it's not really like a section of people.
and they basically have you sitting with the fans, in the media section in Auburn, and it's like it was surreal. I mean, people just, I think Auburn people were calling for a foul, like an illegal screen or something, and they were, it's just never gonna happen. But they did have to review it to get to see if he got the final shot off in time, but he clearly did. So, yeah, that's my moment. What's your moment?
My favorite moment, I mean, yeah, you said there's a lot of good ones. There's Ryan Williams, that whole Georgia game, the Zabian Brown interception. That was my favorite moment from that game, the Zabian Brown pick. I've never heard a pop like that
Yeah.
in Bryant Denny. That was crazy. Um, there were other fun like the LSU game. There were some cool moments. Like Jahad Campbell making that early pass breakup, and then the Deontay Lawson. Like there were a lot of great moments for like Alabama last season, in basketball and football. Oh, it is tough. My favorite moment on a personal level had to be actually this is another unconventional one, but Alabama's pro day. Um,
Okay.
I was I was right there recording Jalen Milroe's 40. I posted it on Twitter right after, and then somehow 5-10 minutes later, I got a mention in my Twitter feed that I like Pat McAfee mentioned me on his show.
Yeah.
And I remember opening the clip like in the middle of the pro day, like standing next to everyone else, and I'm just like, there's no way this is real. I screen recorded it, posted it on my Twitter, started sending it around. I remember showing it to Tony and like everyone there, and I was just like, this is crazy. And I mean,
He
moments
said your
like those.
name, right?
Yeah, he was like, this video was recorded by Henry Sklar. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's still pinned on my
The
Twitter,
way
but
he said your last name, he like Scholar, like yeah,
that was awesome. I mean, because I don't know. I guess I'm being early in my career. That kind of like that
yeah.
pushes you to want to like go harder and like that's one of the top guys in the industry. You see Pat McAfee at College Game Day, and you're like, how do I get to that position one day? So to see him like I don't know to see him mentioning me, that was an awesome moment. I mean, and I enjoy the draft process too. Alabama's pro day was pretty fun. It was cool to see Jalen Milroe and Tyler Booker and those guys one final time at Malmore. It's always the pro day always feels like kind of like a high school or like college graduation. It's like you're sending these guys off that you covered to the big leagues, and it's the last time you're going to see them. It's I don't know. Maybe it is corny to say, but it's kind of emotional. Like Malachi Moore, I guess this kind of will blend right into my favorite athlete to cover, which is Malachi Moore. He was the first athlete I ever asked a question to at the Auburn game after the Iron Bowl. Like I've asked him multiple questions. He's always great at answering. He's a super nice kid. He's obviously a team leader for Alabama. Seeing him like one final time, then like knowing he's going to the league, he's not going to be back. I don't know. It's just kind of like brings like it makes me happy. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a good kid, and I think I was really tough on him after that Vanderbilt, kind of meltdown, and I thought he kind of embarrassed himself in that situation, and a lot of times a college kid will after a situation like that. kind of hide from the spotlight or just kind of hide behind the university. And Malachi, to his credit, owned it. He owned up to that. Thought that was really stand up from a media's perspective. You don't always see that, you know? So I mean, like, it sucks that that moment happened, and there are some people that will remember that moment when they think about him. But I think most people that know Malachi aren't thinking about that moment when they think about him because like he's kind of the opposite of that moment. You know, he's a really stand-up kid. He's not some spoiled brat that's just, you know, throwing stuff around. Like he owned it. He was real professional about it. He didn't hold any grudges towards people that wrote about, you know, I was hard on him, you know, and I never had the feeling that Malachi was, you know, treating me any differently. And, you know, after that, I think, you know, I mean, we're both professional, but you know, like, but yeah, I thought that yeah, he's a real stand-up kid. My favorite athlete's another stand-up kid. Now, I will say I did enjoy the upside down bit with James Burnip. I did get to do a one-on-one with James Burnip, and he's a really cool guy.
Oh
So
yeah,
like James
James Burnip,
Burnip,
he's awesome.
yeah, like I like James Burnip, and I like kind of almost like you're not supposed to root for kids, but you know, I kind of rooted for James Burnip. I will say though that you know the my favorite athlete to cover was Tyler Booker. Genuinely one of the nicest guys. If he's not the nicest guy I've covered, I'm gonna give him that one B of the nicest guy I've ever covered. I think Will Anderson Jr. is 1A, but they're the same dude. I mean, they're the kind of guys that would stop you in the street, and I say that because each one of them, I was stopped in basically in the street hug and a high five kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? There, you know, a lot of times these athletes want nothing to do with us. Those two guys, they, you know, not only were they professional, they really treated you like, you know, you know, I hate to say this, but like, you know, like a human being, but like, you know, like they understood that you had a job to do. And they understood, you know, that you know, just trying to help them out and you know, you're just working together and they really appreciated the media. You know, and so Tyler Booker and Will Anderson were both great guys to cover. I'm glad I got to cover them both. And Tyler Booker, man, I'm rooting for him. It seems like he's got a nice little fit there in Dallas. I'm glad that he went to a Texas team as a Texas native. You know, I think he's going to do well there. And I can see both the Dallas media and then just Cowboys fans in general really embrace him. I mean, he was the guy that was embraced by the fans too. And you know, normally you don't really get excited about covering an offensive lineman, but uh, man, Tyler Booker was just an absolute gem. And so, like, no surprise to me that he was a team captain. We used to give out a media good guy award, which was like to the best media guy. It would have undoubtedly been Tyler Booker this year. We don't really give it out anymore. So, like, I'm gonna go ahead. It used to be voted by by the media. I'm gonna go ahead and name Tyler Booker this year's. I'm going to speak for the rest of the beat and say that he was this year's media good guy. I don't think I would face too much opposition when it came to the rest of the beat for that. But yeah, he was, you know, one of the better people, not only this year, but just in total that I've covered.
Yeah, what he did after the ReliaQuest Bowl when he went around and shook everyone's hand and said, "Appreciate you guys for what you do." That
Yeah.
kind of just like
That was after a
validates.
loss.
Yeah, that kind of just like validates everything as media members. I feel like we do. You know, like obviously, like it's our job to write and like record this podcast and do stuff like that. Like I'm not gonna get mad at a kid if he's after a loss and doesn't want to talk to us or is giving bad answers. But when like you're treated with respect like that, I feel like it just kind of humanizes everything and like it makes everything kind of worth it. Like I feel like you want to wake up the next morning and keep writing and covering the team. And like I don't know, it just like it makes it worth it, you know?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, like that's why you're in this business is for like, you know, those kind of interactions. It's fun. And yeah, it's why enjoyed doing it to get to meet people like him and to you know to get to cover and tell stories like his. And so yeah, I thought you know he definitely made the job a lot more fun for sure.
Yeah. Well, I guess that kind of wraps up everything we had planned for today's episode of Tide Pod. Tony, do you want to say any final words?
Yeah, I mean, this will be, you know, my last day at Tide Illustrated. I've been with Alabama Rivals pretty much since 2017. I've been on the Alabama beat since 2016. I just wanted to thank Yeah, everyone that's listened to this Tide Pod are, everyone that's just been a part of Alabama Rivals are just a part of, Alabama, coverage in general. It's been a wild ride. I don't know what's next for me. I know you have a bright future ahead of you too as well. But I just wanted to thank everyone. It has been so much fun. It's been fun talking with you, Henry. Just kind of, talking about whatever on Tide Pod. That's just been one of the best parts of my week. So this has been a blast, and I don't know what's next, but I'm sure there's some good stuff in store for both of us for sure.
Yeah, this past year with Alabama Rivals has been an amazing ride. I've got to do a lot of stuff that I've dreamed about for years. I mean, covering Alabama as a 20-year-old is like an experience that like not that many people get to say they had. And I mean, being able to say that I was in the press box during the Georgia game and that I got to meet all these recruits at camps and did all these things, went to the Senior Bowl, covered it, like met like networked with all these people, met a lot of people that really inspire me to go and pursue this career. It's been a blessing over the last year, and I'm super thankful for the ride. And stay tuned to my Twitter account. I have my announcement on what I'll be doing next very soon. I'm excited for that. But this has been a very fun ride. And we appreciate you guys for tuning into this episode, of course. Tony,
See you, friend.
see you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye. Okay.